Today we have a 7 fight war, starting off with this thing on note 2. We're gonna pop a wax free fight, and the basic strategy is kind of just do medium light medium combos after a little bit, and it's gonna be a somewhat long fight, but you're in no risk of really timing out, and just get those heavies in when you can. Due to the wax free fight, you are able to do medium and then heavy during the stun. But it's not a big deal. This fight's pretty easy, so not much that can go wrong here. And now for the small, we have a pretty horrible fucking fight here. A mix of bad AI and just getting hits and just playing poorly. Um, and thank God I used Doom, because I don't think I would have survived if I had used any normal counter here. And thank God this small was running Mystic Dispersion. This is a fight I find Mystic Dispersion actually helps you on, because it just lets you keep baiting L1s and ignore high ground. This was my first mistake. I should have done a 4-hit combo right there. That would have let me immediately remove this first high ground thing. But I didn't do that because I wasn't thinking. And yeah, he's being loose with his L1s, thankfully, and we really just need to keep him staying loose with that, and we should have a fine fight here. And now we should have done... I thought that was going to connect. It didn't. And then I thought he gave me an opening to go for an intercept, but we just get hit. And now he's hits me again on a dashback. And he's got a bunch of high ground charges. So at this point, I'm kind of panicking, and he's giving me nothing. Like, literally nothing. This is some horrible AI. Now he's faltering me, and he has so many high ground charges, and he's just not throwing a fucking L1 for so fucking long. He's just not going to throw it. And that's just ridiculous. And then the second he throws it, I get falter on, so it would have been better if he basically didn't throw it. Now we finally can throw our L3 and just hopefully end the fight after this. But yeah, jeez, that was both really poorly on getting hit there. I shouldn't have, and just some really awful AI to top it off. Thankfully, the getting hit didn't end up costing me. Because this is a really, really easy fight that I just somehow let get out of control. And now we're going to get even more poor AI. Thankfully, he does eventually throw it, but he does get this focus first, and gets pretty close to another falter. He got to 56 charges there, so if he threw it just a little bit later, I probably would have died here. I mean, not guaranteed, but it would have been a lot more difficult, and thankfully, we get out of it with the solo. Now for this Mordo here, we have a Mystic Power Boost on, so it's gonna go pretty quick. And we do have a White Mags pre-fight. White Mags pre-fight definitely not needed. But yeah, he's not giving me much of an opportunity to bait heavies anyway. So yeah, we trying to bait heavies to feed our MD, but he's just not letting me really. But then we finally get some there. And yeah, that lets me get into my L3 cycle, and he's gonna die very quickly after a couple L3s. So Ihulk is a really, really easy fight. We just want to make sure we're timing our L1s correctly, and we're baiting specials very quickly. Because we don't want to be in a position where he has an L2 and we're about to get stunned. That's the main danger here. We do have our first life still, so it's not like we would die for one mistake, and we do have an invuln up. But I do want to pay attention to that. And yeah. I'm very comfortable with both of his specials, so I don't mind pushing him to special 2 at all. And utilizing a skill like Dexing, being able to be super comfortable with both specials is really important on a node like Power Reserve, where sometimes you just don't really get a choice with what specials you're baiting. So definitely good to have that in your toolbox for this fight. Just so you don't have any hesitancy with baiting a special 2. And yeah, we actually end up finishing this fight with a full yellow bar. Pretty cool fight. And Nick's just melting, of course. And just a couple more combos and he's gonna die. Very easy fight. Jabari, her cleanse won't affect the light bleed because the cleanse is when she's dashing forward and whatnot. And since the light bleed is on the end of your combo, she can't really cleanse it, which is quite nice. And it lets Nick Fury destroy Jabari. And yeah, we're just gonna play this safe and just keep ending with those light bleeds. Making sure we don't dex the L1, and we're just blocking it all. And yeah, pretty easy fight. We don't want to throw our L2 because that stuns, and there's one eyed open and stun reflection. And yeah, looking pretty comfortable at this point. Now for this Korg, he has empowered immunity, which means he's going to be gaining a lot of power, and we can use this to our advantage with Doom to make it even easier to cycle L1s and L2s. I end up making probably the biggest mistake you can possibly make in this fight later on, but it's a pretty easy fight, so I managed to survive it. I was boosted pretty lightly, so thank God I didn't die from that mistake, because that would have just come down to not boosting big enough, really. But yeah, as you can see, the fight's really simple. You just need to not parry and just get those L2s in when you can. He has low energy resist, negative energy resist, I believe, and yeah, it's not going to be that long of a fight. But, there's always room for error in war. And I'll just skip the commentary you had to the point where I make the mistake real quick. And yeah, here's our mistake. I just parry. Um, it happens, but it sucks. And he gets all of the bleeds that he could possibly get off that L2. And yeah, we lose a lot of health, but thankfully we just managed to stay alive and solo the fight. Now there's just a CMM. So I'm just gonna talk about the war while this is going on. We had a bit of a mismatch. Our opponents died, I think, like 50 times, and we died 8 times. So pretty comfortable win for us. And my battle group managed to get a 0 death clear, which is pretty fun. And I definitely had the most close calls this war, I think. But yeah, solid war, and for the season overall, I now have 34 fights and 0 deaths, so I'm very happy with that. Just need to stop playing so sloppily, because it's definitely not helping. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this war.